I'm not mad. You were assaulted as well. He touched a relative. This man had the kids rolling up at 5 years old and smoking by 8. That lady covered up me being assaulted as a child.
Recording in progress.
You said, hi, you all. Welcome back to C's Podcast, where we're breaking generational cycles, you all. We are putting every weapon that the enemy tried to form against our bloodline. We are seizing it in the name of Jesus. So I'm so excited. Today we have Frehma here, who is our guest, and she's just going to share with you all some of her life experiences, how she's, breaking generational curses and seizing everything that the enemy tried to put on her life. And I'm just really excited to, hear Frehma, and we're so excited to have you here. You are a wonderful woman. I've seen some of your stuff on TikTok, and you're talking all about healing and, really breaking those generational cycles, that generational trauma that was put on you. Hopefully somebody can grab onto a piece of your story, utilize it, meditate, and not feel alone.
My name is Frehma. I am from Delaware County in Pennsylvania, and I'm 30 years old. Okay, so my grandma, she had her first child at 14 years old because she was S8 for years by her mom's baby dad. And that child grew up thinking until she was 12 years old that my grandma was her sister and not her mom. And then my grandma's mom, she continuously dated men that had a thing for children. And my grandma, she started drinking and getting into drugs. So she would leave her kids, if not at home by themselves, she would leave them with her mom, who she knew dated pedophiles.
Wait, so you said that your grandmother thought who was her mother?
So my grandma had her first child at 14. So that baby was raised by her grandparents, Okay, so that lady covered up me being assaulted as a child, and when I remembered and spoke on it, she said I was mentally ill. So let's talk about what's really mentally ill. This woman right here, Honey, had her first child at 14 because she was assaulted by her mom's husband or baby dad, one of those. Went on to have 8 more children and didn't raise any of them. So where do you think those children were? Either at home with no food or with her mother that dated men that liked children, while she was outside smoking, getting drunk and high. And all she told her kids was to make sure they stay away and don't go near her mom's boyfriend because she knows that he likes kids. The man that molested her's family or whatever. So that child grew up thinking for 12 years that my grandma was her sister and not her mom.
Girl, that is deep. And that just makes me think about in our culture, in the Black culture, this is something that is so normal, especially back then.
And then my grandma, she started drinking, getting into like drugs and stuff. So she would leave her kids, if not at home by themselves, she would leave them with her mom that she knew dated pedophiles. So that led to her kids getting touched on. And she would just tell them like, oh, like, don't go near him. If a grown man wants to take advantage of a child, he is going to get that child. You saying don't go near him isn't stopping anything.
Making the kids put themselves in a situation where they're protecting themselves. And how can a child protect themselves?
Right. And then her mom that dated the pedophiles didn't want to hear anything about it. She was very male-centered. They said that she was weak. She was not weak. She just did not care about y'all. You gotta like be honest about the role that these people play. People like saying, "Oh, these women they were weak." They were not weak. They just loved men more than they loved y'all. And you have to be comfortable with telling yourself the raw truth, because that is what's going to help you heal. Nobody that loves you is going to put you in harm's way. My grandmom's brother, because he seen what the men were able to get away with, he started to do the same things to my grandmom's kids. Now this is Honey's brother, creepy ass Kenny. Kenny is not his real name. I don't know, but they call him Kenny. This man had the kids rolling up at 5 years old and smoking by 8. And not just weed, he get them up Andrew dust with it. Like, where the f*** you even get that from? Kenny had a thing for young girls. He ran a store, and he would hire his niece's friends, and he be f***ing on them. Now everybody want to call the girls fast instead of just calling him what the f*** he is: a creep, a PDF, a pervert, a predator. Kenny assaulted 2 of his nieces that I know of, and I'm sure there were more. and probably some boys too, because one of my uncles got touched that I know of. But the two nieces that he touched ended up, turning to women. And my mom wanted to judge them for being gay and blame my aunt for turning my other aunt gay, not knowing that this nigga was the fucking root of it. You see how people want to demonize people for their choices and who they date, but y'all are perfectly fine with predators. Make it make sense. Since people wanted to discredit my truth, hopefully me telling yours sets you free. The thing is, because I grew up in a family where they protect the men and shame the women, the girls felt like, even the way they speak on him, they be like, oh, like, he's a nice guy. He just dates, like, children, but he's not a bad guy. But they will call the girls fast. You see, that's how that the shame starts. The women feel like they can't come out and speak about anything because they are going to defend the men. And it's like, even my uncles, like, it's literally been a cycle. It started from my grandma being raped every night, to her kids being assaulted, to her brothers assaulting her kid. Like, it's generational. And everybody looking at me like I'm betraying the family because I'm speaking on it. Y'all have been betraying yourselves. Mom, we're not mad. She mad. I'm not mad. You were assaulted as well. When you come from a family full of male-centered women that are conditioned to protect men, this will be the response that you get when you come out about being sexually abused. Nothing about this reaction gives normal whatsoever. People talk about textbook behavior when it comes to dealing with this situation, and I'm showing it in real time. Bitch. Mom, we're not mad. She mad. I'm not mad. Betrayal has been a thing in that family because y'all have never been allowed to just speak on the things that y'all have been through. And it's like, they think that is love. They think that protecting wrong is love and speaking on the truth is wrong.
Because that's what they learned.
So it's like, I can't even blame y'all to a certain extent because this is psychological. Like, now this is embedded in your brains for not just for generations. Like, this is how love is supposed to look. This is what family's supposed to look like, regardless of how wrong it is. This has been normalized. And it's like, that's why I try to silence you, because they know to a certain extent that it is wrong, but they don't know how to stop because it has been passed down literally since before my grandma was even born. It has been a thing in the bloodlines. And it's like, it's so deep. So that's why I wasn't looking for acknowledgement from anybody, because I know that y'all have all been messed up. I'm just saying that I'm not no longer going to be a part of the cycle, and I'm not going to be quiet, and I'm taking my son and I'm leaving. And that's why it became like a whole big thing. It's like, I don't expect accountability for people that have not been able to acknowledge what has happened to them. If you don't see yourself, you are not going to be able to see me. And I don't fault you for that. So it's like, I'm not even angry at them, but I don't forgive you because there's nothing to forgive. All I had to do was just see the cycle for what it was and remove myself. People be like, oh, like, you don't feel like you're not going to extend them grace. The thing is, when it comes to trauma, people know right from wrong. Even if they have been conditioned to certain cycles, you have a sense of, okay, this isn't okay. So there's nothing
Now,
for me
like
to forget.
with like being an adult, like once you're an adult now, your child's coming to you
Mm-hmm.
and they're saying these things happen, and you should be listening and acknowledging and accepting it, and consoling them and supporting them on whatever journey or whatever they need to do for them, right? Whatever that child needs to do for them, whatever you need to do for that child, I'm sorry, that's you need to take accountability and stand up, regardless of who it hurts, regardless of who you have to go to and talk to about what happened. Yeah, it is something that happens like from bloodline to bloodline.
I've been on my healing journey since 2020. And I realized that all the work that I was doing was all on the surface, because the real work is the inner child, because that's when your foundation was set. So I was wondering why, like, I was doing all this healing. I knew the right words to say. I knew what to do, but it still wasn't being implemented because the wounds were deeper than the surface. I uncovered my trauma last September. I was assaulted by my cousin when I was 3 years old. He touched a relative, assuming that she had a brain. And before that, she was made aware that there were allegations against him for touching other children. He's been in jail since I was in high school, so I would just let her know, since I know that he was coming home soon. They probably talk on Zoom sometime, so If he was in jail since I was in high school, that means the little girl that he's holding doesn't fucking know him. He doesn't know her. Why are you letting your child get that comfortable around somebody that has allegations? I don't know. I guess the stupid runs in the family. And then a deeper thing that nobody wants to touch on is, where are these people learning this behavior? Because that is learned behavior. Y'all keep trying to ignore when y'all need to be addressing it. And my family covered that up. And then I was assaulted again when I was around 8 years old by an uncle. Nobody knew about that. And I remember, like, the memories started coming back to me because I sent my son to the same school that I went to when I was in kindergarten. So it's like, as I started walking the hallways, I'm just like, okay, this, like, I can't explain it. His teacher had told me that I was a helicopter mom, actually. So I was thinking, like, why am I a helicopter mom? If, like, so I started Googling, like, why would I be a helicopter mom if nothing ever happened to me? Like, I just had, like, this fear of something happening to him, and I don't know where it came from. So then that made me start digging even deeper. And then I started having, like, flashbacks. I started getting scared of the dark again. So I'm like, okay, this is, and I also had spiritual advisors that were trying to, like, tell me without telling me, because you remember when you're ready to remember. So that all came back to me in September. I confronted my family in October, and I went no contact by November. They were saying that I was, like, mentally ill. And y'all keep doing little petty little weird shit. You're telling people that I'm mentally ill. If I was mentally ill, then why did you apologize for saying she was mentally ill? But your family's full of pedophiles. So let's talk about it. Alicia, it's not. Talk to somebody. Frehma. Girl, go to. Because then you don't fuck. Because then me and Alicia don't talk. So you should be saying shit to me. We don't talk to you. We never talked when I was a child. So I know because you like this. You don't know me. You're not my type of girl. You're not my type of girl. So I don't give a. I'm making everything up because they wanted me to give them, like, a time frame of when this happened. It's like, you're asking me questions to try to discredit me, not to try to understand. It's like you're trying to find a line what I'm saying to cover your own, basically. So, because I'm like,
wow. But the fact that you put your son in the same school that you were in, and it was like a trauma response. Your body was responding to that place. It was familiar. You know what I mean? So, all these things started popping back up in your spirit, right? Like things were you were being reminded of the things that had happened to you when you were younger.
She didn't say, okay, I never did this. She said it never happened at all. So not just that she didn't have any involvement. Maybe I'm getting things confused, but she said that the situation never occurred. Not with her, not with my uncle, and not with her nephew. Even though I vividly remember, she was trying to tell people that she came home and she washed me up because I had went to the bathroom myself because I was 3 or 4 years old. My parents covered up me being assaulted when I was 3 years old. I vividly remember her coming home, seeing me, saying, "Oh my gosh," and rushing to put me in a tub. I'm crying, saying sorry. She's telling me to be quiet. Stop all that crying. My whole thing was, I was just letting it be known that I know, and I'm coming for the person that did it. I can handle you later. But like weak women that are conditioned to protect men, she hurried up and made herself the center. So I never got to address the men. It became me versus her and my sisters. I'm like, that's not what happened. So she tried to twist the story to make it seem like I was making things up when I had to. Then she said that, I remember her saying I was going to need therapy. She tried to say that I said I was going to need therapy because I was writing my name backwards. I was like, you don't go to therapy because you're dyslexic. I don't want no problems. All I needed was the clarity to see that this is what happened to me, and this is why I show up the way that I do for my son. This is why I need things, I need to heal. I'm not asking you to acknowledge your wrongdoings or to confront your family or anything like that. I'm just asking you to leave me alone. That's all I wanted. I didn't want to be bothered. That's an indication that you know you did something wrong and you don't want it to come out. I'm not over here lying on your name. I'm not doing anything. This lady started hiding knives, acting like really trying to play into this I'm crazy role. She was hiding pans so I can't cook. Like, she was trying to antagonize me so she could get a reaction out of me so they could play into, oh, see, she's crazy. Look what she did. While ignoring all the things that she was doing. She was changing the Wi-Fi password, changing the Netflix. It's like, my son uses his iPad. Like, why are you? And I have a smart TV. You're messing with the Wi-Fi, he can't watch his shows, but you love him so much. The the way that people react when you come out about the wrongdoings that was done to you tells
Mm,
you everything you need to know about them. Another situation was when I was still with my cousin. They tried to say that it never happened, even though I vividly remember them leaving me, letting me be upstairs with him, with my older cousin. Now, what teenager you know is really interested in being around a child? And it's like y'all were downstairs, y'all not thinking like, oh, like where is she at? And then something happened to me. I remember my mom, my dad, and brother came home and they were looking for me. I'm upstairs in the hallway crying. My sisters are downstairs. Like I remember this situation vividly. So to say that this never happened, I'm making it up and I was too young to remember, the memories always come back. I would try to push it to the back of my mind. Like I remember laying in bed telling myself, like, okay, nothing happened to me, nothing happened to me, until I really believed that nothing happened to me, on top of my family telling me that nothing happened to me. So it's like I'm playing into, like you mind child basically. Um, and that led to me being disconnected from my feelings, not knowing what's real or fake. Like, so I used to drink a lot when I was 18 years old, not even legal yet, but I would drink to see if I cared about anything. Like when I say I didn't know how to show emotions, like I didn't know how to be sad, I just felt nothingness. Keep living in their lie, basically. So me coming out and speaking about what I remember 20 years later, it's like, oh, why did you wait so long to say something? It's like y'all knew the whole time. You literally knew. And as a mom myself, I know, and I work with kids. So it's like, I know what kind of day my kids had just by looking them in their face. So it's like, there's no way you live with me. You saw how I acted, and you thought everything was okay. Nothing went off in your head. I remember I had a journal. My mom showed me this like before I had with no contact. And it was like, I was worrying about being pregnant. And then I was like, that didn't make a red flag go off in your head. Your daughter is
mm.
what, 7, 8 years old right now being pregnant. I didn't know not one pregnant person. I didn't even know how to spell it. And that's not raising a red flag in your head. Like once I had my son, I sent him to school. It's like I was seeing him as me. I wasn't seeing myself. So I was putting him in situations that I actually was in. So that's how my
Wow.
mom was processing it. So it's like that's what kind of threw me off about like the family that I come from. Because like it's no way you can have a child and you don't see yourself in them to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Say that.
So that is what prompted my, like after that my healing journey just accelerated because like okay, I don't want to parent my son out of my trauma and out of these wounds, and I'm taking from his quality of life, or because when he went to kindergarten I literally went with him. I didn't just send him to that school. I was walking the hallways with him at lunch, recess, like I took a
Oh,
job.
you
Yeah.
did. You wasn't playing. You
That's why
was
his
not
teacher,
playing.
that's why she said I'm a helicopter mom. I'm just like, okay, why am I doing this? Because it's like I was trying to protect him in ways that I wasn't protected. Even though nothing happened to me at school, I still wanted to monitor him every chance I got. And that's not healthy. And it's like some people think that when you are acting out your trauma, it's going to show up and you repeating that cycle. But sometimes it can look like you stifling your kids in life because you don't want to repeat certain cycles. So it's like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this different, the same root but different stem. Yeah, I happy she said that to me though, because I'm like, okay, why am I doing this? And then that helped me get to like the deeper cause of everything. Because I was
Yeah.
in the lunchroom feeding him and everything. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing too
Wow.
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of person where I'll forget situations, but I'll remember the feeling. So it's like if somebody whipped my ass like 10 years ago, I'm not gonna remember them whipping my ass. I'm just gonna remember that I don't like you. So I didn't remember the situation. I just knew that I couldn't trust my parents. And then for the longest time, I was thinking, okay, I never trusted my parents because they used to, like cheat on each other in front of me. And I don't feel like that's how a family's supposed to be. And it's like that was not the case at all. It was because y'all covered up my assault. And then basically were trying to tell me that nothing ever happened to me. So you were trying to psychologically like mess me up to think that I was losing my mind, basically. Like from a child.
Wow.
Like imagine something happening to you and somebody's telling you, no, this never happened. So I was disconnected from my feelings for so long. I remember I used to be like 18 years old, drinking on the couch, listening to drink because I didn't know how I felt about anything. So it's like, okay, if I drink and I cry, that means I care. And if I drink and I don't cry, that means I don't care. Like that really has like a long-term effect on how you process your emotions and how you see yourself and other people.
I mean, the fact that like you said, your mother was denying it and basically saying
Hmm.
that you have mental health issues. And I feel like with the older generation, they do not want to sit with that. They don't want to
Mhm.
sit with what actually happened because, like you said, then they have to be held accountable. And then
Mhm.
they're actually doing what probably was done to them.
Yep, for sure, it definitely was. And it's like, yeah, it's been a cycle in my family. It's been a thing. I'm not the first person. I'm just the first person that actually spoke up about it, and not just spoke
Mm.
about it, but removed my son from that environment. Some people they try to guilt them into still coming around the family, or try to scare them into, acting like everything is okay. I'm not going for that.
I mean, I can identify with you because it was the same for me too. I pulled my kids away from my mother. I pulled my kids away from the entire family.
Mm-hmm.
And actually I'm set apart from everyone. I mean, the only two people I do talk to is my niece and my nephew by blood. And everyone else I don't even know. I choose not to get to know them. So I totally understand. And it is a protection for
Mm-hmm.
you and your son. Let me ask you a question. So times like this, Thanksgiving's coming up. How are you and Christmas, how are you processing, being just you and your son, or I don't know if you have friends or chosen family?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I never liked my family. So me not being around them for holidays doesn't bother me. This has been the most peace I've had in years, honestly. And I know how to cook. So it's not like I'm missing the food or anything. And it's like even during the holidays, we were never like a big old family. It would just be like my mom and her kids and the grandkids, but it was never like a big old family thing going on like
Yeah.
with the aunts and uncles. It was never that. So
Wow.
I'm fine. And I never got along with my siblings either, really.
Okay. So you're separated from them as
Mm,
well.
yeah, they pick sides, but they never really liked me anyway. So, because growing up, my mom she would do this thing where she would talk about me to them, so they see me through her eyes, not through actually seeing me. And I'm not proving myself to nobody. I'm not about to prove that I'm this kind of person. Whatever you think, keep thinking it. So
Mm,
I never got along with them really. People can pretend like you could look at these people and you would never think that they have that in them.
mm. And that's the thing. That's a trick. It's a
Mm-hmm.
trick. And when people are so used to it covering up, it becomes natural. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
natural thing. And I feel like this generation, millennials, we are the generation to kind of break free and not do what our parents did because we
Mm-hmm.
know how much, harm that can cause to our kids. And we don't
Mm-hmm.
want our kids to go through what we went through, not to, especially not being molested or
Mm-hmm.
sexually abused like that, or even physically abused, like any of the trauma.
Right, because when I look at my son, I look at my niece, it's like, damn, like I was around your age and something already happened to me. I can't imagine somebody like doing it. And it's like that, I'm not gonna say it hurts even more, but it's just like a wild feeling. It's like you really found this attractive, like an innocent child.
A child is absolutely disgusting.
Hmm.
And, people like to say, oh, well, something happened to them.
It
You
did,
know,
but that doesn't make it okay. And it's like you wanted to
exactly.
put that on to me. Like, and then because one of my uncles, we would always notice that he would come to the cookouts, he would cook the food, and he would go right upstairs. And it's like, okay, that's because you have so many victims in this one space, you feel uncomfortable. Because it wasn't just me. And then I have older cousins that's like around like they were like auntie age basically. And they were saying how the same things happened to them when they were kids, and my family just swept it under the rug. So when they would
Okay.
come to the cookouts, they would come to the cookouts already drunk, and then people are judging them for drinking, but y'all gonna ignore while they're drinking and he's sitting right next to you. It's like y'all can point out the problem, but y'all can't point out where it comes from. Y'all don't want to see that part. Because drink liquor is it's a depressant, right? Or a suppressant.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah.
a depressant.
And it helps you suppress like
Mm-hmm.
experiences that you have been through. So that's probably why they were coming over there drunk and y'all judging them instead of understanding, okay, this is wrong. And they had enough time to get it right and they chose not to. Like even to this day.
And the sad part about it is they will probably go to their grave
Hmm.
before they
Admit to anything.
admit. Yeah, they will go to their grave before they will admit, because my mother did the same. um and like, what do you think? For me, I found that family will protect the offender.
My family, they love the predators. They were raised to defend the men and shame the women. Because in my family, it's mainly been the men that were the offenders. Um, because my grandma, she was a victim. Majority of her kids were victims, if not all of them. A lot of the grandkids were victims. And I remember one time I had a cousin that was telling me how when my grandma found out she was getting touched, she didn't tell nobody. All she did was stop having the cousins come over that did something. I'm just like, that's still how things get swept under the rug. It's like it's really just a cycle. So when you come out and you speak about it, they see it as you going against the whole family. The whole family went against me. And I'm more protective over my son because just like I see me in him. So it's like I would have like the way I would have destroyed that family if I was a parent that happened to my child. I don't care if you were my nephew, my cousin, somebody's going to jail. I'm not covering anything up. I don't know. I just feel like even if it was my child, I would not protect my child if they were the one that were out here like doing things to people and children. I don't know what kind of brains they have like to think that was okay or anything, but I personally wouldn't go for that.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like if I found out that my son had committed some sort of, crime against really anyone,
Mm-hmm.
I would let them know, like, I love you, because you can't just stop loving somebody. Like, I love you, but I can't support that.
Mm-hmm.
And, whatever consequences you have coming to you, that's between you and God.
Yeah,
I
because they were.
can't.
Mm-hmm. Because they were raised on blind loyalty. I don't have blind loyalty to family. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Even when it comes to like my friends, if you do something that I don't agree with, I'm not going to stand beside you just because you're my friend. You have to deal with those consequences on your own. But that's just because I think I just have like this strong morals and principles just because I wasn't brung up with that. So I established them on my own. So I'm really firm on it. Like
Mm-hmm.
certain things, no, I'm not going to tolerate at all. I wanted to smoke somebody. I'm not going to lie. Like but it's like because I had my son, I was thinking about him first. So I wasn't gonna put my hands on anybody because then that would have put him in a position to be in these people's care, and the cycle would have continued because I have the only son out of all my siblings. I think he's like one of the last boys that were even born. So it's like, no, we're not going to continue this. This ends with me. So I didn't put my hands on anybody. Um, but I wanted to. So all I did was I started meditating more, I started praying more, I started trying to really work my way out of this space because I didn't want to feel what I was feeling. I didn't want to feel like the rage. Especially if I couldn't express it the way that I wanted to express it. So I had to channel it in other ways. The first situation I was talking to my brother and I was like, I feel like it was two different situations that happened to me growing up because I'm remembering two different circumstances. But it's like I didn't want to think that two people in that family could violate me. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to hold on to this. I'm going to like wait. I'm not going to address it because it all wasn't clear to me. It was coming back to me on like bits and pieces, like fragments. So it all wasn't making sense. So when it wasn't making sense because it was just not coming back, they were trying to find the lie in it, knowing I was telling the truth. And I remember my mom. The first thing she said to me was, "My family isn't full of degenerates. I didn't tell you who did anything to me. I didn't say it was a relative, but you're defending your family. So it lets me know that you knew that a relative had did this. Or that wouldn't have been the first thing you said. Because like I said, people were telling themselves without like people expose themselves all the time. That's why I gave her limited information to see what she would do with that. Um, and then when I told her that I knew that she covered it up, she wanted to and first off, if your child comes to you and tells you that they have been assaulted, the last thing I'm going to do is call other people and get to try to see what they know. Like she was trying to make it seem like she had no knowledge of anything so she could try to play innocent. Um, so she had called around to the whole family, was like, oh, like look at what she's saying that I did. That never happened. So my sisters took her side. They were getting upset, like our mom would never do that. We had the same mom, but we had two different versions of our mom. The version that I got of my mom, like, because for some reason they still like her, so she had to been, I know she treated my brother, she treated the oldest and the youngest the best, because my older sister did everything for her, like they're like this. My little brother, my family is male centered, so he automatically got, special treatment, even though he's only like a year and a couple months younger than me. Like they would take him everywhere and like exclude me. Um, and she would also separate her kids about who their dads were. So my two older sisters would always be together. Then me and my little brother would always be together, but she favored him more. So I really
Mm.
just seen a dynamic between those two. Like she would go to the store and just give him all these extra snacks, us nothing. And then my sisters, they just got close out of nowhere, but me and her never really had a bond. And also because their discernment sucks. I know when somebody is talking to me and they're telling me lies. Like, I'm good at reading people. I guess they, because that's their mom, they want to, trust her, whatever she's saying. So their bond is like this. They are very enmeshed. Um,
Mhm.
but it's like with my siblings, she could take accountability. Like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I was wrong. Like, you know what? I'm sorry. But with me, it's just like, no, you're wrong. I did nothing wrong. I was the best mom to you that I could be. Like people can't like that's why when it comes to my son, he's only 6, but I'll tell him, I'll be like, let me know if I'm effing up with you. Like let me know like what do you need from me? Let me know. Cause I think I'm doing my best and you can think you're doing your best, but sometimes your best is just not enough. And it's like, and that's why I'm so big on like helping women heal throughout this process because I have cousins that's in their late 50s and 60s still carrying the pain that they had when they were 5, 6 years old. And it's like you don't have to carry it for that long.
Mhm.
All you have to do is
Mhm.
acknowledge it, process it, cut off the people that are necessary to cut off, and really sit with you. And it's not easy work, but it's possible. I was able to heal from, that level of betrayal the same year that I uncovered it. And it just took me cutting off everybody and relocating. Sometimes you really just have to be isolated from everyone to really dig deep into the things that happen to you and who you want to become. Because a lot of things that I realized that a lot of characteristics that I picked up was never even who I was. It was who I became because of that family. Like
Oh
I
my
was
God.
never a shy person. I was just told to shut up too many times because y'all didn't want me speaking about what happened to me. So I started embodying this shy persona, and that was never me. I actually like to talk like a lot. I just realized that.
Wow, that is deep, girl. She said, you picked up the characteristics of your family. It wasn't who you were.
Hmm.
But by default, it became you because of your
Had to
background.
survive basically. Because if I would have been speaking about this situation, they definitely would not have had me. I would have been in a psych ward somewhere because they always said that I was crazy. They always like locked me away to keep their secret. So it's like when I was upset that my memories were repressed, that was my protection. Because if I remember,
Mm.
that would have tormented me to have to be
Mm.
in this family, be around these people, knowing they all did something to me, and there's nowhere that I can go.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You said it, your mind was protecting you, and the
Hmm.
mind is a powerful thing. And thank God that your mind kept you,
Hmm.
really, until you was in a place to remember,
Hmm.
so you could heal at the right time, versus, like you said, being in a mental institution. You said, you were talking about your son and
Hmm.
how you're showing up for him. And it
Hmm.
sounds like he had you one of listen, one of the best mothers of all time.
Thank
You're
you.
showing up for him, and it sounds like you guys have a really great relationship, and he's so blessed to have you. Someone who protects him, someone who
Mhm,
sounds like you're in the school system with him. So
mhm.
that's amazing. Um, where can people find your information?
Okay, so my TikTok, I believe, is Healing Killer, um, Healing and then Hiller, HEAL 3R. So I
Okay.
didn't use the E. Um, and then my workbooks are healinghealer.shopify.com. Yes, I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is Leaders of Tomorrow Book. So that's like my official name. Because at first I started off with just like the workbooks because initially I started off trying to be an intentional parent and like teaching my son um in a way that I wasn't taught. And then that's when I started realizing like, yo, I never had anybody be this intentional with me. Like I need to heal. So it was like
Hmm.
it was a collection of things, like a collective of things that made me realize that okay, I have to work on myself. Like beyond me follow him to school, but it's like me giving him things I didn't have is like killing something within me, like my inner child that
Hmm.
I was ignoring for so long. So it's like, okay, I'm going to start creating these journals from this process that I am going through right now. So that's when I came up with the workbooks for the kids and the healing journals for the mothers. So it's like you are nurturing your inner child while you are educating your child.
Yes, girl, and I have to get me a copy for myself and then my son, my youngest one, because I think that'll
Mhm.
be a great activity for him and I to do together. Because we're never ending healing. I think
Mhm.
we continue the process of healing as we grow older, as we
Mhm.
grow wiser. We learn new things and we just add it to our toolbox, right?
Mhm.
If there's one thing that you can leave us with, or one thing you can tell someone who may be in the same situation you were when when you came to the realization that this had happened to you,
Mhm.
what is something that you would say to them to encourage them?
Honestly, speak up anyway. You are not speaking for validation. You are validating yourself and your experience. People are always going to try to silence you. People are always going to have something to say. You are now the adult that your inner child always
Mm,
needed. So yeah, I encourage everyone to speak up. I don't care if it's 10 years later. You ain't gotta do it tomorrow. You can do it 5 years from now. But as long as you hold yourself, other people are not going to give you a round of applause or a pat on the back for acknowledging yourself. You gotta do it anyway. You don't need anyone to push you to
mhm.
acknowledge you. You have to do that for yourself.
That
Because that's
part.
one thing that I've realized is that nobody cares. You have to care about yourself.
Mm,
Especially when it comes to healing from trauma, like, I've had people tell me, "Oh, nobody cares that you went through this," like, people that wanted me to stay quiet. People are gonna try to tell you anything to shut you up. Speak anyway.
mm. And you heard it from you listen, you heard it from Frema. So, girl, it's been an honor to have you on here. I'm so grateful to be connected to you. And you all, I pray that you guys enjoyed this podcast. All Freeman's information is below in the description. And yeah, until next time.
Mhm.
Okay, girl. Got home, my grandmother wasn't so happy. She spanked me and told me the cops were coming to spank me too. I was scared. She gave the stuff to my sister. We moved a lot by the time I was 6 years old. I remember because at the time I started smoking cigarettes and weed. May 11th, 2006. Religion was confusing because by the age of 9, I was into three religions: Hebrew, Baptist, and Voodoo. My grandmother, who I thought was my mother, I didn't know she was my grandmother. I found out she was my grandmother when my father got shot. My father was a big numbers runner, gambling in Queens, New York. Back then, the mafia was big in Queens. My grandmother changed religion and we began going to Hebrew school, and I hated it. I wasn't getting high as much in the school. My brother, my brother started passing me around to his friends in school. After 2 years or so, my grandmother took us out of Hebrew school and put us in public school, and I hated it. The kids in the neighborhood hated us because we dressed differently. For me to be cool, I began bringing for me to be cool, I began bringing weed to school. But that was after I was getting beat up and would have to run home from school. Once they knew I could get real weed, it wasn't as bad. I started drinking too. May 13, 2006, 7:30 p.m. May 13, 2006. I wake up and I feel this real strong feeling, powerful. I'm in touch with my womanhood. I feel pretty good about who I am on this rainy day. I'm not sure if my daughter is home. No matter what happens, I feel okay, good, safe, and content. Back to the book. Nothing was ever said. I was just beaten or just made to feel like I was wrong. This was all before the age of 9 years old. At 10 years old, I ran away with a little girl from Queens, New York. My best friend and I got drunk in her father's building with three or four men. We drank, I got drunk, and a man had sex with me. Her father caught him, put him out, and told me to go home. Instead of going home, I kept running. I got on the train, took it to 42nd Street.
Yeah, it just seems like she was never home because of most likely her fears of being home. She was always outside, which led to making bad decisions with people that she called her friends.
I mean, she was 9 years old. That's like, can you imagine yourself at 9?
No,
Being out, smoking, drinking, getting raped. You know what I mean?
no, I don't think I could.
It's like that's all she knew, right? So, like, what's your thoughts around, she's thinking her father is her uncle and her grandmother is her mother. She didn't know that her grandmother wasn't her mother. She thought her grandmother was her mom. And she found out that she was her grandmother when her father got shot, who she thought was her uncle. Wild, right?
Yeah, it just seems like there was a lot going on in the family.
So basically, her grandmother, she thought was her mother because, well, we'll get more into the book, but you just see the picture, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're going to read some more. May 14, 2006, Mother's Day. The day after my birthday. I slept all day and it was nice. I got up, took a shower, and went to my daughter's house for dinner. She brings up my abuse as much as I love her. She told me she had to go to the hospital, which is normal. I have to prepare for the baby to be born, but I won't know until after the baby is born to go to the hospital. She chose to go to Boston to be with his family, and I think it hurts, but I know it's going to happen. I have to be ready for my grandson to come. Back to yesterday, while I was watching a movie, I saw 3 to 4 people being raped. And as usual, I can't shake it. I keep seeing it and thinking about it. I learned over the years I have to be careful of what I watch, see, and hear. Back to the book. 42nd Street, New York, New York. It will change my life. I blocked out most of my childhood with my family. I was either 9 or younger. It's just easier to say 9. I walked up the stairs from the train station. There was a small arcade. It had all kinds of games, pinball, all kinds of games. I walked up the street. I walked into the street lights. There were I walked into the streetlights. There were movie theaters, restaurants, all kinds of places. Women were half naked, standing in front of glass doorways. Dancers gartered naked shows, things I had never seen before. It was about 3 or 4 in the morning, but it was like it was 8 p.m. Everything was up. People dressed in all kinds of different clothing I had never seen before. The streets were full of people walking around. I wish I could show you what I saw with my young eyes. It was like I was in another world. I remember I didn't sleep for days. I just walked around Broadway. Broadway was full of theater, Broadway shows. As far as I could see, I can feel the feelings I felt that day right now. I'm trying my hardest to explain how I felt, but it wouldn't give it justice. It had to be around 1970. I want to sit here for a minute and feel and think about the last couple of days.
How often was this happening? I feel like that's a question I would have to for her. It seems like this was like very normal, like everyday things. Like she was just able to leave whenever, uh, do whatever, go wherever. And I feel like it kind of warps your reality.
Yeah.
What you think is supposed to be normal and what actually is normal.
Great. That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, I would say the same when I first got a hold of this book, I couldn't even believe she wrote it, and I didn't change it. I didn't add to, I didn't take away. Like these are her words. I mean, I have her original book too. It's just wild, right?
Yeah.
I saw another man who looked the same. He took me somewhere, had sex with me, and told me to stand on 42nd and 8th Ave and wait for him. I stood there for about 2 days and no one showed up. I'm not sure how long I stayed out there without eating. It may have been a week or two. After waiting, I met another man. He was all dressed up, curls in his hair, it was long. I had never seen a man like him before. Now I know he was a pimp. At the time, I didn't. He bought me food, took me home with him. I thought I was going to eat, then go to sleep. But when we went to the room, he put me in the bath, grabbed a coat hanger, wrapped it in a towel, and beat me with it. He put shorts and a halter top on me and put me on the corner. He told me what to say when a car came up to make money. I was so scared, I didn't know what to do. So when the first car I got in, I told him what happened. He drove me to another part of town and put me out of his car. I ran on and I would see the pimp and run. I ran as fast as I could. He and his friends, I ran as fast as I could. He and his friends would chase me, but I was so fast they couldn't catch me. It wasn't just men who tried to sell me. Women would try to bring me home to their pimps. I don't remember how long it lasted until I began selling myself